Hello everyone, welcome. Today we will start Introduction to C language. This is the first video of this series. Today we will be discussing just introduction to the C language. We will not do any programs today. We will start programming from the next video, next class. So today let us learn about what is C language, where does it come from, and why do we study it. And also we will see some usefulness of this language. Alright, so I am Rohit Chetri and you can see my email ID on the screen. You can email me your doubts. If you think I am missing out on some points, you can also email me and I will be very happy to solve your doubts. And not only C language, if you have doubts on any other language or any areas of computer science, be it BSc, computer science honors, BCA, BTech, anything. So I will try my best to solve your problems, and do write me, and also you can give me your feedback. Your feedback is very valuable for me and it will also help me in my further development process. So let us start today's session. Today first let us start discussing about what is programming. Now programming and coding, people can get confused. Well, programming and coding are the same thing. Coding focuses on typing the program, thinking and obviously typing the program, while programming is concerned with how you are dealing with a solution, how to solve a given problem. And when you implement it on any language, on any computer programming language, then we call it coding. So very little difference is there between programming and coding, otherwise the things are same. Okay, what we do in programming, when we implement it in the language, then it is called coding. Okay, so programming is the method of making computers do what we want. We want to watch a movie, we want to type a letter, we want to surf the internet, we want to do anything on the computer. Everything is done by programming. You don't need to do the programming to use the computer. The manufacturers of the software that you are using, they have already created the programs in a particular programming language. Now you are the client of that programmer, you are the client of that manufacturer, you are using the programs, you are using the softwares. Now when you face a problem, okay, you can complain it to the manufacturer. The programming team will try to solve the errors. These are called the bugs of the software. Now programming is always it always deals with the problems of bugging. What do we mean by bugging? If there are some flaws in the software, some particular features are not working or they are misbehaving, then it is called a bug, and the it is the responsibility of the the software team, the engineers, to correct these problems so that it doesn't come up again. Alright, so programming is the method of making computers do what we want. It is the process of instructing the computer to do some task by giving all the minute instructions ourselves so that the computer can automatically do the job for us whenever we want and for any number of times. So in programming, what do? We write a program. Now that program consists of all the instructions that are needed to perform the task that you want to make the computer do. Now, say if you have a program to calculate the sum of two numbers, then the program may consist of two lines or three lines depending on the way you are programming. Say if I would have to do the program, I would first give a I would write a line to give a message, enter first number, then the next line would be to accept the number, then the third line will be to give the message, enter the next number, then the fourth line will be to accept the number. In this way, line by line, we write instructions for the computer to perform, and then the computer does the job. If your program is written properly, if your concept is clear, then the program will run flawless. Okay, and the computer program that can run whenever you want, because once you have written the program you can run it as many number of times as you want and whenever you want. Okay. Now humans, they are prone to tiring and other disadvantages like mood swings, okay, some health issues. So maybe a human person, a person who is engaged in a job, okay, he has to do some, manual readings, manual editing of some documents. Okay. So if that person is absent or due to some health issues or maybe unfortunate accidents or anything like that, or he is not feeling well, not emotionally well, so at that time the whole company gets hampered. So here there is the need of automation, getting artificial intelligence. Alright, these things, they come from programming. Okay. Computers, they do not get tired, so we can give them a large and continuous job so that they can do it without any problems, without any errors. So this programming concept is very safe than giving it to the humans. Okay. Because obviously we are humans, we have a point where we cannot work further. Okay. But computers, they don't have any such thing. You give them the electricity, they will work. Okay. So I think we are clear about programming. Okay. Now what is a program? In programming we write programs. Now what is a program? A program is a set of instructions that instruct the computer what to do with the input data, which is called processing, and what form the output data should take. Now, a program is like your school or college notice. Your principal gives a notice on what is going to happen, how the teachers or students have to participate, and what are the other extra informations that are given. You can follow it. So a notice gives you the instructions. Okay. Now we being human, we are very flexible to understand, complicated notice. Okay. Some hidden information also we can, we can understand ourselves. Say for example, the principal says that there is attendance mandatory for in such particular day. Obviously we have to understand that if it is a school or college event, wearing the uniform, if there is a uniform, then the uniform is compulsory. So these are the information that we understand ourselves. It doesn't have to be written in the notice. But in a program, everything has to be explained to the computer. The computer will not do one thing more or one thing less, okay, which is not mentioned in the program. We write 5 lines of code, the computer will run 5 lines of code, and the way it has been instructed, it will not do anything extra, it will not do anything less. Okay. So program, in a program we give the process how to work with the input data. Okay. And also the program will also involve the steps. Okay. It will include the steps that will give the desired output. Okay. So you want the output on the screen to be flashed, okay, like blinking, or you just want the output to be a big size text, okay, anything like that, or you want it to be printed or through the printer, something like that. So all these ways of output, that is governed by the program. Okay. Now, a computer can understand programs only in a language that the computer can understand. It will not understand French, it will not understand Hindi, it will not understand Bengali. It will only understand the language it will understand. Okay, it's very recursive thing that I'm saying. What language does the computer understand? Computer understands only the language of zeros and ones, which is called binary. Okay. Now these zeros and ones, these are actually, if we discuss about it, it will be quite lengthier. So I'm just briefing you. Zero means off of an electric circuit, and one means on, okay, of the same circuit. Now when there is a zero and there is a one, computer understand that it is binary. Without, I mean, except these zeros and ones, computer will not understand anything else. Anything you give, it has to be converted into binary first, then the computer will perform the job. Whatever we are seeing on the screen, okay, there is text, there is movie, pictures, songs, anything, computer itself works with zeros and ones. When it comes to you, it is converted into human understandable form, and then when it is going to the computer, it is converting into zeros and ones. Okay, now for humans, zeros and ones is very difficult to work with, and many a times people, we human beings, we can also do errors with these zeros and ones. Okay, so we have two options with individual advantages and disadvantages that we will see. Okay, so there are two types of programming languages. Programs have to be written in computer based languages. So there are two types of computer languages. One is the machine language and one is high level language. Machine language, by the name only we can understand that it is directly understood by the machine, the computer. Machine language is the language of zeros and ones. Okay, it is directly understood by the computer, therefore the program processes faster. Okay, because there is no need for conversion. Person speaking to me in Hindi, okay, or any language that I understand, it will be very easy for me to understand it. But if there is someone who is talking to me in French, I don't know French, I can't speak or I can't understand French, so I need a translator. Okay, there has to be a person who will convert the French to Hindi for me and my Hindi to French to that person if he doesn't understand Hindi. So there is an extra person in between us who has to first listen and then convey to me in Hindi, right? So this takes a little bit of time, right? But in case I know French, then I don't need the translator, right? So the communication will be faster. The same way machine language is understood by the computer directly, so the programs which are written in machine language, they will work very faster. Okay, but it is difficult to work with. Okay, because there are thousands of combinations of zeros and ones that people will have to use, and many people, they are not very efficient in machine language programming, even I am not. Okay, so these languages, they are not much used. Okay, and also the programs are not portable. What do we mean by portability? Portability means, say for example, there is the software WhatsApp on the Play Store, many people use it, right? So the same software is being used in thousands, multiples, billions of phones, right? It is working properly. It doesn't change from one computer, from one mobile to another mobile, the features, right? So this is called portability. One software running on millions of the same type of systems the same way without any issue. Okay, so this is called portability. But you must have heard there are some softwares which were created for the very previous versions of Android, and they don't work now properly in the newer versions, or the newer the softwares which are made for the newest, the latest versions of Android, they don't work with the previous versions of Android. The same way, if we write a machine language program on a Dell computer, that may not work with the HP computer, or it may not work with the previous versions of the Dell computer itself. So these languages, these programs written in machine language, they are not portable. Means one program written in one computer doesn't work properly or the same way in the other computer. That problem we can see. It may or may not work, but mostly we see that it doesn't work. So we say that the machine language programs are not portable. Solution to this: high level languages. High level languages are English like languages. If we see any Java program, C++, Python, PHP, any program if we see, a freshman, he can easily read it at least and get a gist, get a hint of idea what is happening in the program. Okay, there are words like system dot out dot println, print, printf. These things are there in the programs written in the high level languages. So these are understood by the freshman also, that at least what this program will do, at least that we can find out how it is working. Maybe not, maybe the complex programs we don't understand, the freshman will not understand, but at least some tits and bits the freshman will understand. But in machine level languages, the programs are so complicated that even the good Java programmers or the good Python programmers also, they are not, efficient with. Okay, they will not be able to understand it because they don't work with it. Okay, all right. The computer doesn't understand the high level language directly, so it needs a translator. Okay, it needs the high level language program, HLL, the short form, to be converted into machine language. Hence it is bit slower, but this conversion, this is very fast. Okay, it is not that slow, it is not that time consuming. Okay, so this slowness doesn't affect us much, so it is good to. Okay, we are comfortable to work with HLL, and the time that it takes to translate into the machine language is not much, so we can use it in place of machine language. Okay, all right. So now let's move on to the language converters. As we saw that the high level language programs that need to be converted into machine language, alright, so there has to be some language translators or converters. These translator softwares are called compilers and interpreters. Now there are some languages that will use only compiler, some languages that will use only interpreter, and some languages that will use both. Like you can see, C and C++ are compiler based languages, Python Visual Basic are interpreter based language, and Java uses both compiler and interpreter. Okay, for now let us keep it up to this. Let us learn first what is a compiler and what is interpreter, how do they work, and when we will learn, maybe when my channel grows, I will also post some videos on C++, Python, Visual Basic and Java. Then we can discuss about it. For now let us stick to C, and for today let us discuss about the compiler and interpreter functioning. Compiler converts the whole high level language program into the machine language code at once. It will prompt to the computer, to the programmer, all the errors at once. Okay, whatever the programs are there in the program, it will report it at once. Okay, so the execution of this compiler based high level language program is faster. The high level language program which uses compiler, that runs faster because the whole program is converted into machine language at once. And if there are some errors, be in the first line or the 100th line, all the errors will be shown to us at once. So if we can change all the errors at once, okay, then obviously our execution will start sooner. But let us come to interpreter. An interpreter converts the high level language program into machine language line by line. Okay, one by one the lines are converted into machine language. One line, if there is an error, it will prompt to the user. User will have to user will have to correct it. Then the next line, error, user will have to correct it. So like this, if there are 50 lines, 50 times the programmer has to interpret it. It will start from the beginning, will come line by line. The line at which there is an error, there the prompt will come that here there is an error, change it. So then the programmer will change it, and then he will move on again from the starting. So like this interpreter works very slowly. Okay, the execution will happen, but after a lot of time. If we are a very freshman, we are prone to make much errors. Okay, so obviously in that case the program execution is slower than the compiler based programs. Okay, Python, that is an interpreter based language, but I'll tell you something. Python, it doesn't use much of programming constructs, so making errors in Python is very less. Okay, but Visual Basic or other languages, okay, in that case the problem arises. Okay, Python is a very growing language. It is uh, on the top nowadays. Sometimes it comes to the second position or third, but it is among the top 5 programming languages you can see on any YouTube channel. So let us not discuss about Python, Visual Basic, Java, etc. anymore. Let us stick to C. Now let us come to the history of C language. C language was developed by Dennis Ritchie at Bell Laboratories of AT&T American Telephone and Telegraph. of USA in 1972. Now the before C programming language also there were many other programming languages, okay, but they had some issues, they had some problems. Okay, something was not working, or some feature was not there, some feature was absent here, some feature was absent there. Okay, so to inculcate all these problems, C was developed, and also Dennis Ritchie had developed the C programming language to develop the Unix operating system, the then competitor of DOS. Okay, Microsoft created DOS, disk operating system, after which came Windows, and their AT&T, they developed Unix first, and then came the Linux or Ubuntu that we are using, Ubuntu Debian, Kali Linux, etc. So the root of Windows is like DOS, and root of this Linux family is Unix. Okay, Unix, this operating system, the entire operating system, it is written in C. It is written in C by this person Dennis Ritchie. So in 1960 there was this language ALGOL, which was created by an international group. Then came BCPL, which was developed by Martin Richard. Then there was this language B, and then came C, traditional C, and after that some more additions were done to that by Kernighan, and it was called K and R C, that is Kernighan and Dennis Ritchie, or Ritchie. And then finally what we use nowadays, that is ANSI C. Okay, ANSI or ANSI, which is American National Standard Institute. So they have standardized all the features of C, how it will work all over the world, all over the in all the computers. Okay, so till here let us keep it, the history of C language. Obviously after that also it was developed, then came C++, etc. So what we are going to learn in this entire series will be ANSI C, which will be followed in most of your schools, colleges. Okay, so further information on this history of C language is not necessary. Yeah, I'll just tell you something from this slide. Some objective type questions are very common in your school and college exams. Developer of C language. Hello, मैं घर में ही हूँ. So I was saying that many MCQ or objective type questions come from this slide. Okay, like who was the developer of C language? That will be Dennis Ritchie. But developer of ANSI C, that will be American National Standard Institute, or ANSI committee. And then which operating system was developed using C, that is Unix operating system. When was C programming language developed? 1972. So these kind of short or objective type questions that can come up from this particular slide. Okay, now let us move on to features of C language. First of all, C is simple. Okay, C is a very simple language. It is very easy to learn. It is very easy to implement from an algorithm. What is an algorithm? Step by step written procedure. Okay, if you are not writing in any if you are not solving the problem in any particular programming language, what you write in your step by step process in your diary or notebook, that is an algorithm. Now to implement that algorithm in C language is very easy. So C is a very simple language. Okay, machine independent. Yes, it is machine independent. It can work on Apple, it can work on Windows, it can work on, yes, Windows, it can work on Linux, it can work on Dell, HP, Microsoft, IBM, any computer it can work, it will run properly. So it is very portable. Now middle level language. Now what is middle level language? I'll just tell you. Middle level language over here means we can use C. Where is the pointer? We can use C to create any operating system. Okay, now we know that operating system is the link between the user and the computer, right? By computer here we mean hardware. Okay, excuse my handwriting. Now OS is in between this user and the hardware, right? Now the C programming language, as it is used in making OS, it is also used in making the compilers. So it is very much, you know, it is very much involved with this hardware. So C can also be used in writing low level or machine level language programs also. That is why we call it a middle level language. It works fine at the high level. At the high level means working, writing programs, very general programs. Okay, but it is also very good to write C programs for embedded systems which are directly working with the hardware. That is why we call it middle level language. Okay, it is not a low level language because it does not work with zeros and ones, but it is very close to that. It is very near to working with the zeros and ones. Okay, there are binary operations in C that we will learn in the series later. So at that time you will understand that why C is called middle level language, because it can directly work with the hardware. It can make the hardware work properly. Okay, which is not possible in some other languages like PHP or Python. They will not be able to work in embedded systems in the way C works. Okay, in other languages that are used in embedded systems, they mostly they take the help of C language to use the libraries and other functions. Okay, then C is a programming structured programming language. There are functions in this language. We can write this. We can write functions, means modularity is there in this language. You know, a big program in that the individual tasks, they are divided among the different functions. So the functions will be performing the task whenever they are called, okay, whenever they are utilized. Let me give you an example. Calculator we have. In the calculator we have many operations: plus, minus, divide, sine, cos, tan, square root, many things we have, but we don't use them all at once. We use them when we want it, right? So this plus, there is a function inside the chip of that calculator that will perform the plus operation, sine operation, square operation. So these are functions that are used when it is required by the user. Okay, so it's in that way functions can be written in a big C language, and that can be used whenever the program needs it. Okay, then very close, very similar explanation lies to this rich library. There are many good functions, okay, written in this language by the developers, by the developer team of that ANSI, and then obviously most of it was written by Dennis Ritchie that we use nowadays, even now. There are header files. We will discuss about it in the next video. There are files in which there are many functions which are pre-written. We can directly use them. Okay. Say for example, we don't have to write another function to calculate the square root of big fractional numbers even. Okay. Obviously, it is very difficult for us to calculate the square root of fractional numbers, point decimal values. But there are calculators also. But obviously, we cannot introduce a calculator inside our C program. We can use functions in that case. So these functions are already written in the C language. We just have to use the proper files. Okay. Hence, it is very rich in library functions. Okay. Then there is some memory management possible. In the later videos there will be a session on dynamic memory allocation, how C language, you know, very easily it works with the RAM. Okay, just while doing the program, during the execution, we can see how the RAM is working, how we are, you know, allocating some memory from the RAM and then we are freeing it. Okay, so there is dynamic memory allocation. So there is a brilliant memory management feature in C. The C language is very fast. Okay, everything works very fine, very speedy. Okay, because you know it is low level language. High level language obviously it is, but we should prefer to call it a middle level language because it works very close to the low level language. Okay, then comes pointers. Pointers are actually, they point to the address of a variable. okay, address in the memory RAM. Okay, everything which we have in the computer that has a particular address in the memory. Okay, now what does this address do? Like my this presentation is working on one part of the RAM. Okay, it's not using the entire RAM at once. Many things are going on in my RAM. So when I am focusing on this presentation, okay, the area which is allocated to this part, okay, that area's address is important for the computer to show what I want. Okay, like for now I don't want the YouTube thing that is going on in my background right now, so I am focusing on the address of this PPT part where my PPT is running on the part of the RAM where my PPT is running. I am using that address right now. Now when I use the address for the Google Chrome thing, then the Google Chrome will be shown to me. So these are pointers. Pointers indicate the address of the working variables, functions, etc. Okay, we will also learn about pointers in the next, after like 5 or 6 sessions. Pointers, before learning pointers we have to learn many things, okay, on C language, so it will take time, and after we have done pointers only we can come to memory management. Okay, so you should be, you should stay tuned to this channel, okay, to learn the concepts easily. All right, now we'll come to applications of C language. C language has a vast application, although nowadays it is not used much, okay, but it has a vast application. It can still be used. Obviously, why don't we use C language right now, today, nowadays, is because there are many other, more developed languages. Okay, the prime usage of C has been served. Okay, but nowadays, there are website designing, there are website developments, database applications, so all that are creating, they all those things are created, and for that we need better languages, we need very better techniques, softwares. So for that newer and newer programming languages are, being developed. Okay, Java is still running because it still means it has its own empire. Okay, Python, it is conquering most of the computer programming field. But still, why we should learn C and C++ is because all these languages, Python, Java, all they have come from C only. The way Java works, the way Python works, everything comes from C, or rather C++. C++ is basically the offspring of C. From C only C++ has come. So we can say that that C language is the mother of all the other programming languages that we are using today. And if we learn C programming language properly, okay, we know everything very properly about C language, it will be very easy for us to learn any other programming language in a week, okay, or even lesser. If we have that determination, we can learn any other programming language after we have learned basics and, you know the strong features of C, like pointers, memory allocation, all these things. If we learn in C properly, then it will be very easy to, change the language from C to Java, or C to Python, C to any other language, whatever is your choice. Now let us come to applications of C language. C language can be used to make operating systems like Unix. All right, after Unix came Linux. Then embedded systems are actually hardware based, softwares, uh, systems, okay, that work inside our refrigerator, TV, etc. GUI, or graphical user interface. Okay, we can also make graphical user interface, or the graphics. There are features of graphics also in C language. Okay, maybe I will not cover that in this video series, but we can think of creating a separate series for GUI, or graphical user interface, or graphics programming in C after I finish up with this series. Then C can also be used to make new programming platforms, means like C++, a very good example. C++ completely coming from C, so it is another programming platform. Then MySQL, okay, MySQL is an open source database management system language. Okay, using this MySQL, we can create entire DBMS very nicely. and this MySQL is written using C only. So obviously C has been used to create DBMS softwares indirectly. C has also been used for making compilers. Okay, compilers, you know already what it is. Okay, compiler design is another subject in the field of computer science that we will maybe later obviously learn it. Then Google, Mozilla Firefox, Thunderbird, these things they have used, seen some modules of it. And obviously C can also be used in gaming and animation jobs. Okay, C++ and C sharp that have come from C language, they are still nowadays used for this gaming and animation applications. Okay, so obviously more than these applications are there for C language, okay, that you can go through. You can also email me what extra things that you could find out after researching, or earlier. Okay, I'll be very happy to know it. So we have come to the end of this session, but before ending the session, I would give you this reference books. Okay, I mean name the reference books. One is Letter C, which is a very easy book, but not formal. Okay, it is not a formal book. It will explain you the concepts very easily, like a teacher is sitting next to you. Okay, that is written by Yashwant Kanekar. I had followed this book first. Okay, on C, I have read this book, the first book, and then I I came across this Programming in ANSI C by E. Balaguru Sami. It is a very formal book. It is going to be useful in your college, school, to make your notes, okay, and get a very internal idea on C. Letter C will give you a very brief idea, and also it will give you ample knowledge on C. But if you want a deeper knowledge, then obviously ANSI C should be your choice. Both the books are 100 on 100 marks, okay, but there are some features in Letter C which is not present. Like for example, memory management is not present in Letter C, but ANSI C also has linked lists, so it has an extension towards data structures. ANSI C, Programming in ANSI C is a very good book, okay, that must be like 200 out of 100 points, because it is directly going to be very useful for your BTech, BCA, BSc, also your school level if you are a school level student. All right, but Letter C is going to help you out in a very easy way. It is very easy to use than Programming in ANSI C, because I told you Letter C is quite an informal book. Okay, so it will be very easy for you to access the book. Okay, all right, so let us end our session over here. Obviously there are more other books, okay, that you can find in the market, but I will suggest you these two books or any one of these books if you want. Okay, so let us come to the end of this topic today. The next session we will be covering the first programming in C, which is Hello World. Every programming language that has to be learnt from the basics, which is Hello World, these kind of programs. And from that we will also learn about the elements of a C program, which will be present in the Hello World program, and something extra also I will be explaining. So stay tuned till the next class. Thank you.